Okay, welcome to Coffee and Chatter. Today I'm going to speak on federalism versus Confederationism. So, the founding fathers did not form a government based on federalism. They established a confederation where the individual states aligned together but retained sovereignty. The basis of this new government was the Articles of Confederation. Now, when the Constitutional Convention of 1787 convened to propose amendments, which is what it was called for, to the Articles of Confederation, the conventioneers proceeded to kick the articles to the curb and presented the states with a totally new document, the Constitution, changing the republic based on a confederation into a republic based on federalism. Confederation favors states over a central government and allows states to retain sovereign power. Federalism gathers power to a central government, and the individual states become essentially children of the central government. The Antifederalists attempted to thwart the move to centralized government, even introducing the Bill of Rights, but to no avail, as has become evident in our day. So let me look at a few quotes from the Anti-Federalist paper, number 17. Okay, in Anti-Federalist paper number 17, the author argues, and I quote, "This new government is to possess absolute and uncontrollable powers, legislative, executive, and judicial, with respect to every object to which it extends. For by the last clause of Section 8th, Article 1st, it is declared that the Congress shall have power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or office thereof." End of quote. The writer went on to explain that the legislative power given to Congress was competent to lay taxes, duties, imposts, excises. There is no limitation to this power unless it be said that the clause which directs the use to which taxes and duties shall be applied may be said to be a limitation. So the power is given to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. End of quote. All right, so there we have it. So the lack of specificity in what constitutes the common defense and general welfare of the United States has brought us to a $30 trillion national debt, along with $1 to $200 trillion of unfunded liability, and myriad attempts to curtail liberty by elected officials pleading ignorance to the meaning of the Bill of Rights and much of the body of the Constitution itself. Makes me think of San Fran Nan Pelosi, who might put it this way: I guess you gotta read it to know what's in it. Which ultimately leads me to conclude that the author of the Anti-Federalist paper number 17 had very good reason for his concerns. One of the concerns the author had was that the federal government's taxing powers would eventually crowd out the taxing power of the individual states, as citizens can only stomach so much taxing. And remember, some of the impetus for the then recently fought war was over a small tea tax imposed by the British on the colonists. So, as the Fed's voracious appetite for revenue grew and continues to grow, it would and has become more and more difficult for the individual states to impose state taxes on its citizens to fund the needs of the states. And that was one of the concerns of this writer. Now, I'm going to draw attention to a situation which is not precisely exact concern with raising taxes. It is concerned with taxes and the overreach of the federal government. So, at the last minute, there was a change made to the recent $1.9 trillion economic relief package that Biden subsequently signed into law, I believe, back in March. The change was a provision put out by the Democrat Senate that could temporarily prevent states that receive government aid, which was all the states in this bill, from turning around and cutting taxes. So the Democrats restricted states from receiving grant money, and then in an effort to lighten the load on its own citizens, cut state taxes. In other words, the federal government is stepping in and telling the individual states how to tax. So, as seen in the Democrats' attempt to standardize, or better yet, federalize voting regulations, something that the Constitution clearly commits the individual states, the Dems are trying to pass H.R. 1, all part of the attempt to have a large centralized federal government control everything and have that power in the hands of one party, the Democrats. Maybe it's me, but from this vantage point, the Anti-Federalists were right. Go ahead, change my mind. Thanks for listening.